Do you ever look at successful people and think, how do they do it? Don't they ever stumble and fall? Well, I've worked on a string of breakthrough hits and partnered with mega successful creators and teams. And I'm here to tell you, the most successful innovators make lots of mistakes, far more than the average bear. So in the spirit of getting smarter together, I'm going to get personal today and share 5 embarrassing innovation mistakes that I've made and learned from. Mistake number 1. There's no need to validate our ideas because we're the target market. Years ago, my partner and I raised a seed round from top-tier VCs to build next-generation brain games. They invested in us because of our track record on working on hit games and products. So we built and launched our first game quickly to start getting data and see where it would go. We didn't validate the ideas before launching because we figured, hey, we're the target market, so we pretty much know what to build. And much to our delight, we quickly attracted a small, passionate audience who loved our innovative game. And they were mostly puzzle nerds and game designers and people who like photography and art. In other words, people like us. But there was a problem. We captured the wrong audience. We couldn't build a brain games business with the people that we'd attracted. So we sold our startup to a larger competitor, which wasn't the outcome that we or our investors had hoped for. Lesson learned. It is worthwhile to validate your idea before launching, even if, or especially if, you think you're the target market. Mistake number 2. Let's fix this wicked hard problem with simple gamification. As a longtime game designer, I get a lot of requests for gamification help. A few years back, I worked with a team at a large, struggling social network who wanted to build a badge system to drive micro actions like logging in and clicking on links. The team had put a lot of effort into the artwork and the branding of the badges, and they were really excited to launch it and get it into people's hands. So we launched, and we did see a lift in our stats when the badges were first introduced. But there was no underlying journey or purpose to the badge system. It was all built around localized behavior tracking and incentives, something, by the way, which is relatively easy to build. But in that kind of system, everyone earns the same badges for doing somewhat trivial behaviors, which means that when you look at someone else's profile, there's no meaningful social signaling or differentiation going on with the badges that they've earned. So when I look back, I realized that badge system was a band-aid and a distraction. It did not keep users from leaving in droves, and it ultimately distracted us from solving the real problems, which were much harder to solve. Lesson learned. Don't try and solve wicked hard problems with a simple band-aid or gamification solution. It'll simply fool you into wasting time on the wrong issues. And that leads me to mistake number 3. Let's believe what customers say about their future behavior. For the past decade, we've been developing and running online courses and programs. And when we develop new programs, to see what works and what doesn't, we run lots of experiments. Each time we want to develop a new program, we run research on our hot core customers to find out what they want and need. Now, during some sessions a few years back, a few of our customers asked us for a more affordable version of our intensive high-end training programs so they could dip in and out and really do it at their own pace. So we talked about it and asked them if they would purchase it, and enthusiastically we got yes, 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 yes. So we did it. We launched a membership training program with price points ranging from $99 to $299 a month. It was flexible, it was affordable, and a year later, we shut it down. Why? Well, it didn't attract enough people to make the business model worthwhile for us. And more importantly, what we learned is that the people who joined were, for the most part, not very committed to the process. So they didn't come regularly, they dipped in and out, they didn't do their homework, and that meant that they didn't get the big-time results that our process can deliver. That experience really drove home how important it is not to believe what customers say they're going to do in the future, but instead to pay attention to past behavior. Because people always are going to want to get the most value for the least effort, just like they're always going to want to get as much as they can for free. Lesson learned. Even when people tell you it's what they want, lowering your price and lessening the commitment can backfire. Mistake number 4. Let's validate our product idea with beautiful high-fidelity mockups. A few years back, I was working with a connect-a-car startup that was developing an app-based driving tool. After doing some discovery research on the target audience, we developed a few product ideas that we wanted to test. So we started sketching them out, but the CEO was very graphics focused and didn't want to show anything to potential customers that didn't look polished and finished. So we spent weeks developing beautiful polished mock-ups that showcased the ideas we wanted to test. And when we walked potential customers through our mock-ups, they loved the features and especially loved the beautiful, clean graphic UI. We got a lot of comments on that. And everyone on the team was happy until we shipped the product and saw that nobody was using those features. Lesson learned. Beautiful graphics can seduce your customers and increase your chances of getting a false positive. If you want to test your ideas, not your graphics, you want to use low-fidelity mockups first. That leads us to mistake number 5. Let's show these sketches and storyboards to busy executives. Back when I worked for Paramount Communications in new product development, I got to work with creative teams from Nickelodeon, MTV, and the Star Trek franchise. These teams were adept at using storyboards to communicate and visualize ideas. So I picked up that skill and took some classes and found it invaluable for product design. Now, another part of my job was pitching ideas to high-level execs so we could get budget and resources for our projects. I vividly remember one stressful meeting where I pitched a series of storyboards for an online game idea to media execs who I had just met. Very excited to communicate our ideas, but he completely rejected it because he didn't like the art style that was in our storyboards. So we didn't get the budget, and I felt like a fool in front of my team. That experience taught me that as wonderful as storyboards can be for testing ideas, they can also be distracting and confusing, especially for a visually focused media exec. Since then, we've developed art-free pitching techniques that work much better when you're communicating to executives. Lesson learned. Once you remove the aesthetic part, it's easier to have the right conversation. I hope you enjoyed hearing about the 5 embarrassing innovation mistakes that I've made and learned from. You know, it's never completely comfortable to admit your mistakes, but it sure is a great way to get smarter. Did you relate to any one of these mistakes in particular? What innovation mistakes have you learned from? I'd love to hear your experiences. Tell me about it in the comments. If you want to level up your product skills and innovate smarter, we can help. Check out our coaching programs at gamethinking.io/programs. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell if you want to know when our next video drops. Here's to getting smarter together. I'll see you soon.